When October 7 happened, I woke up that morning and I said, will you speak up? Because I don't want to shock you. That morning, most of the Arab world was celebrating October 7. I don't want to shock you. Many were celebrating October 7. Many saw it, the end is nigh, Israel is finished. To speak up on social media on that day in favor of Israel, you're doomed. But I asked myself a question, did you really change? Or was it just like a sudden fascination? I said to myself, I really changed. I swallowed the radical ideology of Islamists and I expunged it. But not that I expunged it with emotions. I expunged it with knowledge, with facts, with truths. I never hesitated. I spoke up from day one in support of Israel's right to defend itself, against the atrocities, the real genocide of Hamas, because Hamas really wanted to kill as many Jews as possible on that day. It was never about the land. It was never about the land. It was never about the two-state solution. It was never about living side by side with Israel. It was about killing Jews to go to heaven. Those who tell you otherwise, they don't know their ideology. Ask someone who knows it very well. Ask someone who defeated that ideology. The biggest misinformation that we have in our region is that not so many people are relating Israel existence to the 3,000 years old of history. They are considering Israel as a white European imperialist project. The Jews are foreign colonialists from Europe, not indigenous people who lived in this region for very long, not are the people who the prophets and kings that we revere and honor are their ancestors. We don't have, we keep disconnecting that. So yeah, and I always say that it has to be reinforced in a way that would tell the world that the Jews are indigenous to this land, because where does the word Jew come from?
Right.
The word Jew comes from Judea. They were never called the Jews before the Babylonian exile. They were called the Israelites. But when the Babylonians inquired about their origins, the Israelites in Babylonia said, we come from Judea, we are the Jews. And why was it called Judea? Because when Joshua bin Nun conquered the land, partitioned the land, he named that land, he named that part of the land on the fourth son of Jacob, Judah. This is why the Jews in Israel still call it Yehuda v'Shimron, Judea and Samaria. If your ancestors were brought from the portion of the land that would call Binyamin, you would now be called the Binyaminites, not the Jews. So understanding history is very important, especially the biblical history, and I believe there's a big gap in that.
Yeah, and for example, the Islamic term Beit al-Maqdis, I think he may have brought it up there, or maybe this is the shorter part of the clip, is actually Beit HaMikdash. And so they are using our terms, twisting them around and presenting it as this is Islam. You know, they believe, for example, that the same day that Jacob was supposedly, you know, the Kedat Yitzchak, which is Abraham almost got Jacob, and then God stopped him right before. Basically, they believe that happened with Ishmael, with Abraham's other son, and they twist it around, you know, and that is exactly this is not you know, totally divorced from religion. The conflict in the Middle East is very religiously involved. These people, for example, Islam has this idea that they can't lose land. And so when they lose land, supposedly lost land, even though it was the Jewish people's biblical homeland, they have to get it back. That's part of their modus operandi.